All right, I'm here with Melissa Henig. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Matt. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. I have so many people that are excited to hear your thoughts on so many things, specifically about parenting and raising children and birthing and just child nutrition, because there's so much misinformation out there
Yeah.
about children's health. And I'll see some scary stuff on Instagram, people posting like fully plant-based smoothies for kids with like no saturated fat. It's like all unsaturated fats. I'm like, no, that's not going to build it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's scary. That's not going to build the brain and develop the body, the baby.
Yeah, yeah. I've been really, I've known about the power of animal foods over the years, but your work has really helped. You've seen me, I think, go on crazy diets before, and
Right.
there's so many fads, right? The paleos, keto, and now there's carnivore. And what's always drawn me back to you is your balance, and
Mm.
I just get that sense that you're really well rounded. You have plants, you have predominantly animal foods, and then a lot of nature outdoor time. I think that's super cool.
Yeah, I used to be really strict on raw animal foods. And then when I did get pregnant, I had to eat so many calories. You just need it's like 2,700 calories a day is recommended from the brewer's diet. That's a really popular animal-based diet for pregnant women. And so at that point, I started eating a little bit more like some rice and things because I was just trying to get consume so many calories. But you're right. I mean, I still eat a lot of raw dairy and raw animal proteins and kefirs and butter and yeah, it's and so does my child and he's super healthy. I don't know if Weston A. Price and they talk about the nice round faces where the palates are all perfectly fit in the mouth and formed correctly because of what the mother was eating mostly pre-conception. Because really, once you get pregnant and you find out in 3 weeks the heart's already formed. So it's like, oh, well, I'm just going to start this prenatal supplement when you already are forming a baby. It's really like so important beforehand to really be eating these animal fats.
Well said. Yeah, I think people are obsessed with prenatals for some reason. I get that question so often, and there's so many aspects to nutrition. I think you really hit on an awesome point right there. Is like preparation, like planning ahead.
Mm,
And I know a lot of parents didn't plan to have their baby, but that's not the ideal.
right.
Um, but there's a macronutrient aspect. I think there's the protein, the carbs, and the saturated fats, but a mineral aspect as well. And I've been studying like magnesium deficiency and copper deficiency, and that could go 3 to 4 generations back. Related to
Right.
the deficient soil. So that's kind of scary. But the easy thing we could really focus on, I think, is the macronutrients, right? And that's like pretty easy to nail down before conceiving.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I've been eating a pound of raw butter a week for years. Yeah, I didn't even realize how much I was like pre-planning for a pregnancy. But yeah, I mean, protein grows a baby. That's really important. And so yeah, so even if people are planning or not planning, it's good to eat this diet anyways. That's full of animal proteins and animal fats, and then the children eat that way as well.
I love it. And so just to kind of build a foundation, kind of back up a little bit,
Yeah.
you wrote a book on raw paleo years ago, right? So you kind of touched on that, but you've experimented a little bit with raw meats, and I think I've seen some YouTube videos where you show like ceviche or different things you could do.
Right. So yeah, I wrote the book Raw Paleo, and that's based on raw animal foods, which includes raw meat, raw chicken, raw dairy, raw eggs. I know like chicken's the last step people would ever take. They usually like start with raw milk or raw butter or a couple raw eggs in their smoothies, and that's very beneficial and going to help a lot, increase nutrients. But yeah, so I did raw paleo for a long time, and then I've relaxed a little. Of course, I actually still eat raw meats to this day, but it's not the major part of my diet.
Very cool. Yeah, the raw egg thing was a game changer. I remember when I was just coming off of veganism and discovered that there's healthy animals besides a CAFO farm. I think that's what a lot of vegans don't realize is there's actually well treated animals, and ideally you do it yourself. Like I have some hens here and a rooster, and
Mm,
there's ways to do it right. But I remember just being in the parking lot of a health food store and I was just cracking raw eggs right in my mouth.
Yeah,
I
that's
think I
funny.
think you got me into that. I mean, that's fast food, right?
Oh yeah, digest in 27 minutes. It's just so easily assimilated, the raw fat and protein in this. It comes together in this perfect package, you know. It's such a quick, easy meal.
Yeah, I love it. I usually do soft boiled, like I have a one of those egg cookers. I think it's like $15 and it makes like a perfect soft boiled egg. And I prefer the whites cooked and then the yolk mostly raw.
Hmm.
Um, but I think the white slimy part gets a lot of people. It's kind
I
of
know, I know. It's kind of gross.
if you want, I think I used to just let that run through my hand, and then if you just space your fingers right, you can just hold the
You
yolk.
yeah, you kind of catch it. Yeah. So I've done that.
But yeah, I'm really glad you brought up the raw eggs and the raw milk because those have been huge for me. Like I think I used to just blend in the blender like raw milk and raw eggs, and that's like
Mm.
the ultimate smoothie, right? It's incredible.
Oh, definitely. And a little raw cream and a little ginger and raw honey if you like. Yeah, it's so delicious. And some people really don't even want to blend raw milk or raw egg yolk because it's so, in its natural form from nature is probably more perfect than a blender spinning, spinning it. But I'm okay with using a blender.
Yeah, there's probably a little bit of oxidation, but I
Right.
always try to tell people don't get too heady with it. It's always with health, it's just do your best because neuroticism will make you unhealthy.
Right? And we know it's like so much more than the food.
Mhm.
It's like I started with the food and I was obsessed with raw foods and organic and as healthy as possible. And then I really branched out into taking my shoes off every day, standing in sunbathing. Yoni sunbathing is like so healthy. Sunbathing the pregnant belly. I mean, you're like the light master.
Oh. I've toned down a little bit, just like you with the stuff. I've come back to balance a little bit, but yeah, you nailed it. It's the nature connection, and I think it's been proven that 100% indoor existence is not sustainable at all. Right? We should have a balance of going in the cave and then going out and foraging and stuff.
Right. I mean, we have a practice where we really like tune in to our emotions before we go outside and like what happens once we get outside. And it's just like we just feel heavy, we feel the roof kind of closing in, we feel some type of anxiety, and then we walk outdoors and it's just lifted. And there's just infinite sky and possibility. And we're like, oh, we got to go outside at first thing in the morning. It's such an easy, I feel like, oh, everyone knows this stuff, but not everyone does it.
Yeah, that's well said. What I've been doing is whenever I make my breakfast and I'll have my breakfast and coffee and just go out on my deck, with my shirt off and as little clothes as possible, and just to start your day just with some sun exposure, fresh air, even if it's 5 to 10 minutes, I think is most
Yeah,
people are missing that.
I know. And I was reading an article how kids should really be outside about 4 to 6 hours. Really, just to developmentally, they learn so much better in nature. Like one comment I always get about Jeremiah, he's 19 months, and everyone uses the word sturdy. They say, "Oh, he is so sturdy. He's so good on his feet," and it's because he's out there and he's climbing rocks. He's not indoors.
I love it. Yeah, and I think I've seen some videos. You guys have done like some hunting, right? Because you guys were on the move for a while, like across country. And so Jeremiah's seeing that, right?
Yeah, I mean, he's before 7, he's subconsciously he's soaking everything up. So whatever we're doing, like hunting or rewilding or earthing, like it's like sinking into his DNA right now. So I'm like, what are we doing to him? I'm sure it's mostly good, but it's good to be aware of it.
It has to be better than Disney, right? I mean, just
Yeah.
put him in front of a
Oh
screen.
my gosh, like we had a yard sale like on the street the other day and we got him some plastic toys. They make him crazy. They are so unnatural and there's lights and sounds and I've never seen him act like that. Like when he's in nature, he's calm, he's playing with sticks, he's throwing rocks, and these toys, he's like, ah, he got aggressive with it. And it just reminded me like, ah, yeah, that plastic stuff probably isn't the best.
That's hilarious. I think they're like I was raised with Legos, but mostly like my favorite was Lincoln Logs. I don't know if anyone
Oh.
remembers that, but it's just no plastic, just wooden, and I would just build houses like little miniature houses, and
That's
it was really fun.
awesome.
stimulated my brain.
You should look for those.
Yeah, my mom was on it in a lot of respects and introduced me to gardening, and I think having my
Mm.
hands in the dirt really helped my brain development.
And
Get to
your immune system as well.
hmm We're
Yeah.
gonna get into that a lot. Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, as
Yeah.
far as I know we got off track, but the hunting,
Mhm.
we in Arizona, it's really easy to hunt. There's like national forest anywhere you can go shoot guns. There, like I remember when I lived in California, every sign was like no swimming, no guns, no dogs, no camping, no fires. Here it feels like totally Wild West and you can do anything.
Wow.
And there's national forest right in the backyard, so you can like go back there and hunt squirrels and jackrabbits and it's
That's so cool.
it's pretty fun, yeah.
My dad was actually born in Arizona, and he always talks about how he would just go out in the desert with guns. And yeah, this is many years ago, but that's what it sounds like. That's super cool. Yeah, California is really strict. I'm even worried about shooting a squirrel here with a bow and arrow. It's like
Yeah, yeah,
I
right.
get a fine.
Well, they might not hear that though, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, the hunting piece is something I wanted to touch on because I feel like I've been studying the masculine, and
Mhm.
I think there's an attack on the masculine and the warrior masculine, especially. And I think from a young age, men used to know how to skin and process,
Mm.
wild meats, and we've lost that. Most men are lucky if they know how to cook a steak, right?
I know.
So yeah, it's super cool that you're introducing Jeremiah to that at such a young age, because that's that's kind of more important to know than foraging, right? Because you're getting your protein, your saturated fat. If everything fell down, if
Right.
you knew how to hunt, you would be okay.
Yeah, it's a real survival skill to have because the thing is people always say, "Oh, if I had to go shoot a deer, I would. No problem. If things collapse." But the thing is, it takes so much practice. Like I've gone out hunting with Chris and it's not easy. He'd be a good one actually for the podcast. He's
Cool. That's
really
good.
into he's really into the rite of passage and how that is really lost with like you said, like skinning animals and but yeah, I mean, it is. I don't think I can do. I haven't practiced, so it's a very valuable thing to have, skill to have.
Yeah, I think the future of humanity moving forward to really help us get through this tough time is animal husbandry, like chickens, goats,
Mm.
cows, bees, combined with hunting skills. And I think those are really solid pieces of nutrition right there.
Yeah, they are, and I do believe in like the wild foraging plants because there's going to be a double, triple. I mean, the nutrient quality it's so much more in wild food. I just have a couple of things of wild berries when I'm out snacking on trails, and which just seems like so much more available, than just something from the store.
And you make tinctures, right? Because I used to go and get like nettle root, and that's one of the easiest beginner plants, stinging nettle, and I would
Right.
just tincture the root, and it's amazing for men for preventing excess estrogen and stuff.
That's right. We don't have a nettle. We don't have that. We have a pine pollen tincture,
Oh, cool.
which is
Okay.
actually really good for men as well.
Do you guys harvest, like, you harvest the pine pollen? And
Yeah, it's ready today. We're gonna go today.
super cool. Wow. Yeah, I'm surrounded in pine trees. I actually haven't done it. I plan to now. It's the season, right? Now's the
Yeah,
time.
you really need to keep an eye on it and check it every day because it's like ready one day and the next day it's gone. It's done. So it's something like
Wow.
you'll cultivate an eye for it when you're learning how to harvest.
Interesting. And to process it, I've heard you need to crack the cell wall with freezing. Like, do you guys put it in the freezer or?
We just lay them all out to dry on some big trays, and actually they get all these maggots, and then they're gone. And then the next time we check it, there's no maggots anymore, and then it's ready.
Weird.
It's wild, and I've Googled it so many times. Like, I guess maggots are a superfood, so it's fine. But they're dead anyways. But yeah, we just strain it, and that's it. It's good.
Weird. I never knew about that.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I don't know if they're food source. Like with parasites, it seems like if they have a food source, they'll stay. And once
Yeah.
their food source is gone, they literally just vanish. I watched this on the pine pollen, and I feel well, I know you're into parasites, but I feel that could be the way in the human body sometimes too. They'll stick around when they have a job to do.
Yeah. Oh, I agree with that. Yeah, it's interesting. I think with 3D printing food, they're looking at making that out of maggots, like the Soylent
Oh,
Green. There's even that drink now you can buy called Soylent. It's just scary. It's like all in our face, the industrialization of our food supply.
oh my gosh, so unnatural.
um, yeah, so you touched on let's go into parasites for a second. I think you got me onto Diogenes Vonderplanitz in
Yeah.
his book, like We Want to Live, and you studied. That was kind of your start, right? Is studying his work, and I think he was big into parasites.
Yeah, I mean, he was big into eating them because he thought they would clean him up, and then they just like vanished when they were done with their job. That was his theory. But I mean, I've eaten so much. It really comes down to sourcing. That's a question I get a lot about parasites, and I go to the farm. I'm shaking hands with my farmer. My cows are never on grain. They're fully grass fed, grass finished their whole life. The grass is watered with spring water. This is in Arizona too, like 30 minutes away. So, I feel really good about like clean food. Clean animals produce clean food, and like all these years, and all my clients and everyone I know, I've never had a parasite problem from eating raw animal foods. So I'm just answering that because I get that question. Have you ever had a parasite?
Yeah, I think it's really planted by the vegans, and there's so many memes. And my understanding has evolved to be more hydrochloric acid based. With like when I think of parasites, I think of stomach acid, and protein builds the
Mm,
chymotrypsin and all of the acids and the enzymes that break down everything
mm,
that shouldn't be there. I think raw seafood is, that's something to maybe be a little concerned about. But when it comes to like
true.
grass fed beef, I'm with you. It's totally clean and safe. So.
Yeah.
It's funny in the carnivore movement right now, there's people saying like, oh, there's no difference between grain fed and grass fed. As far as nutrition, it's like very negligible. But I think it just makes sense to support grass farmers that are raising them properly, right, on grass.
Yeah, I mean, I can't believe they're saying that. In my research, it's just so the nutritional profile is much higher in grass-fed and grass-finished. And even if when they finish on grain, all the good omegas or whatever is in the fat. I know like there's the omega-3 controversy right now, but
It balances it out, yeah, because there's vitamin E, especially more vitamin E in
oh,
like
okay.
grass fed, and then yeah, but yeah, it's more balanced. It's more, and I think they're more resistant to parasites and all those infections,
Yeah,
right?
totally. And the thing is, like, when they're finished on grain, it wipes out all the good fats like really quickly. So they can be grass fed, and then you give them a couple months of grain, and just like a human, like we start eating good, and we clean up pretty quick, or we get bad pretty quick. So yeah, same. It's like pretty important to find the grass finished if possible.
It was sad. My best friend was just at the airport, and how they have burgers, and it's not the best quality of beef, but they actually fully replaced a beef burger with a Beyond Meat burger, and he couldn't believe it. Like they didn't make it an addition; they replaced the actual beef with a Beyond Meat burger.
Oh my God. Well, I don't know what that is. Beyond Meat?
It's kind of like the Impossible Burger. It's a fake. It's like the vegan burger that bleeds. Like
Oh, see, I wouldn't even know what that is.
if you like drive by a Carl's Jr. Next time, like you
Okay.
might see an ad because they're actually carrying it in like fast food joints now,
Wow.
offering it as the healthier option. But I think like the second or third ingredient is canola oil. Like it's really packed with unsaturated
That's
fats.
terrible.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Man, yeah, I just don't trust these industries.
Yeah, you guys are probably mostly out of the city, but you go into like LA or, these big Austin or whatever, and you're like, whoa, I mean, it's like a futuristic nightmare, right?
I know, the thing is, even when we do go to restaurants that claim to be organic and grass-fed, like our body tells us, like that probably wasn't right because we get gas or we don't feel good. We're like, what is going on? We'll ask, does your stomach hurt? Yeah. And I just don't even know. I think they could say they're organic and maybe a couple things are organic, but it's so much better for me to eat at home and cook for the family at home.
Yeah, same. I agree. You know what's going into it. And I think the biggest issue that's probably contributing to what you just said is the canola oil. Because
Yeah.
usually they'll cook, steaks and canola if you ask them. Like, 90% of the time. It's super sad.
Yeah, I'll ask, and they'll actually do butter if they have it.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
Oh,
you can,
that's
I mean, I get annoying, but
good.
or even like if they have good eggs, and I'm like, so can you cook those in butter for me?
Or just bring your own, right, in a little
So,
cooler.
yeah, that too.
So we can jump into the Q&A because we have a ton of questions, and then we could just go off, tangents on each one, but just kind of touch on all
Okay.
of them. So they're asking about, I guess, the whole pregnancy process, um, doing it without a doctor or professional supervision. Is that advised? I guess, what did you do with your?
Oh, well, that's like free birthing or an unassisted birth. And it's good because the government isn't ruling over every decision that the midwife would make. Like say someone's water breaks and a licensed midwife, she could lose her license if she doesn't make you go in so many hours and get a C-section. But like my midwife was like, I don't care if it takes days. When the baby's ready, the baby's ready. And there's just so much fear and still so many rules around a licensed midwife. So a lot of people are doing this at home, like just a free birth and catching their own baby. I had a different story because I ended up in the hospital. Did you know that?
No, no,
Oh
what happened?
yeah. Well, I mean, I planned to do it that way. I had a midwife that was like an unassisted birth midwife, and I never even got to go in labor. The baby, he just stopped moving at about 43 weeks pregnant. So that was like a technically overdue 3 weeks. That is an arbitrary date at this point, like a due date. But yeah, so it was 3 weeks past that date, and I just told her, I'm not feeling any movement at all, and that's a real sign. If a mother stops feeling movement, to just go in and just say, hey, I'm not. We walked in and said, hey, we're home birthers. We're just going to get an ultrasound and leave because then I stopped. There's no movement, and it was just like an emergency. They had to get him out. They could not get any movement at all, and so
Wow.
it was pretty scary. And like, yeah, Western medicine came in. I mean, came in hand there because I could have lost him. Like I think people did back in the day. Like sometimes things happened, and so yeah, that really was a big one for me to swallow because I don't go to doctors. I never even got my blood pressure taken. The pregnancy was perfect. I never had any test or anything. It was like I was so healthy, and then at the end, I mean, birth has a way of its own sometimes. And so like I have no judgment on like, whatever people need to do. Like that was the choice I had to make to save a baby's life. And he came out and he was in pretty bad shape at the end because he was so stressed. He had just been in there so long at 43 weeks.
Wow.
And so yeah, but if I ever get another chance, I would definitely try a home birth again.
Yeah, I think years ago I saw a Netflix documentary on home birthing, and it's like hour and a half or something. And a lot of people will get like the kid pools and then like
Yeah.
put that in their living room or whatever. And I thought
Yeah,
that was
I
kind of cool.
I totally support it and believe in it, and like if you can do it unassisted, like that's amazing. Like our bodies are naturally designed to grow a baby and to give birth. Things flow out every month. Things are constantly flowing, and things babies flow out too. So like yeah, I would support that.
Yeah, I like what you said too about just the unexpectedness. And I think there are benefits to Western medicine. I see a lot of people, trashing
Yeah.
the hospitals and the doctors. And I think there are a lot of them that mean well, so just maybe
Mhm.
they were trained wrong, or they're just, there are a lot of them that just want their next Hawaii vacation. But I think there are well meaning people. And I think there's a place for antibiotics here and there and just emergency situations. Um,
Yeah, like breaking a bone or
mhm.
something. Yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty important.
Yeah, so I mean, I still have like I mean, he's super healthy. I recovered super fast because I had surgery, but everything was well, and I don't think people question like, well, is it because you ate raw meat? And it's like, no, that had nothing. That probably like made the situation better because I was so strong and healed so fast.
Yeah, I think protein and amino acids are so overlooked. Like I've been doing so much more bone broth lately. I think
Mm.
I'm like 24 ounces a day, and just been looking into gelatin and the power of glycine and
Hmm.
proline and all these things. And it's so important. I think vegans tend to forget, like, you need you need protein to make enzymes. It's like enzymes are made of protein. So if you're amino acid deficient, that can cause so many issues, especially with detoxification. Our body's made to detoxify, but not if we're protein deficient.
Right, definitely. And the enzymes make life possible. I mean, we have to have enzymes for smiling and thinking. Everything we do is based on enzymes too. So,
Yeah. um, it's kind of a good segue. Safe frequency for eating liver while pregnant. Were you doing that?
yeah, definitely. So liver has a lot of vitamin A in it, and there is a scare that people like when you're pregnant, they say that you're not supposed to have too much vitamin A, but that's the synthetic form. That's prenatals. That's people that just go and get a fragmented vitamin A supplement or something. But when it's coming from a natural source like liver and egg yolks, I mean, that's really healthy and really important to actually to when you're pregnant for forming organs.
Well said. Yeah. And I think vitamin A is the precursor to so many things, not only to liver function, but to make thyroid hormone. It's like
Right.
cholesterol, vitamin A, and then a couple other things, and
Y-
thyroid hormone's super key when you're pregnant. So,
Yeah, and it's the animal kingdom vitamin A, not beta carotene from carrots and grasses, because we have to have the special converter to actually have that be vitamin A, and not everyone has the ability to convert that. So when I'm saying vitamin A, I'm talking egg yolk, raw butter, grass-fed meats, and liver organs.
I love it. Yeah, and God made it simple, right? We don't have to overthink things. It's like retinol, animal source, support the liver, support the whole system. and
Right.
that the and the fat soluble vitamins too. I think you've studied that. Like A, D, E, and K, those are supposed to be in a balance, right? And we get those from animal products and animal foods.
Right. And Weston A. Price is really big on calling them the activators. And that's going to activate and help you assimilate and digest everything, that all the nutrients in the foods. You need the vitamin A and D in the foods, and that's why babies and toddlers are so drawn to raw butter too, because they need the activators.
Yeah, I think years ago you got me on when I was especially recovering from veganism. I couldn't get enough like protein and saturated fat. I'm like, this is awesome. I went, I bought the tub of raw butter, and unfortunately, I think it was like $14 at the co-op. But I put raw honey in there, and I would just eat that for a meal, raw honey and raw butter together, and it's delicious. Like my brain was just lighting up.
Oh yeah, that's so healing. Augenis book, the kind of the pioneer in the raw paleo primal foods. His son was in a car accident, and he would just be he'd like sneaking in raw butter and raw honey mixture under his tongue, and he healed. And that was like one of the main facilitators in his son's healing was raw butter and raw honey.
That's super cool. Yeah, I think there's some websites. I think realmilk.com is a good one, but I get a lot of people that say I can't find, I can't source it, or it's only pasteurized. And I think that's where just finding small operations, right? You could usually find some backyard operations where people are doing it.
Yeah, well, you know me, I move around a lot because I'm like searching for this perfect place that doesn't exist. But I actually, everywhere I go, I just order my raw butter from the Amish in Pennsylvania because they really do it right, and they ship it, and it gets it here in a couple days, and I order 6, 7 pounds at a time. But another way, if you don't get your raw butter shipped in, it's just so important to me. It's a priority. But a lot of times I just go to the Weston A. Price website, and there's a local chapter, and there's an email. Usually most every area has a chapter leader, and they'll have a resource list. And that's, if you don't go on realmilk.com, that the Weston A. Price chapter resource list is really helpful.
Awesome. Yeah, that's great. That'll help a lot of people. To eat the placenta, or is it not necessary? Is there a hormonal benefit?
I know, that's a good one. A lot of people eat it and love it, and they get energy from it. Gosh, at the very end of my pregnancy, I remember there was research on something being controversial about it. I don't know exactly on that, but yeah, um,
Yeah.
I didn't get a chance to eat mine, but yeah, yeah, it definitely doesn't hurt, I don't think.
It looks like a SCOBY, right? Like kombucha mushroom.
Yeah, it's just like so many life. It looks like all the ventricles coming out. That's funny.
Interesting. Yeah, I've heard of even like husbands eating it, and I was like, wow, that's super connected. That's a connected partnership right there.
Oh, yeah, yeah, they do eat it. I've seen people throwing the capsules in their smoothies. Why not?
Deer placenta is a thing. I've seen companies selling that.
Oh, okay. Oh, that reminds me, now that you just said a company selling capsules, also, if people can't eat regular liver pills are good when you're pregnant too.
Awesome. Yeah, I actually have some on my website, Ancestral Supplements, I think, and I take 3 grams a day. And I know the desiccated, it's not the same.
Right.
Um, it's my understanding, and maybe you could educate me here. Like raw, like liver, if you go to the health food store and you buy it, it really has to be fresh. And if it's just in the refrigerated section, uh, it's better if it's frozen, right? To actually be more palatable. Otherwise, I've heard it could just taste horrible if it's like a week old and just refrigerated,
Oh,
right?
well, I soak mine in raw milk when it's fresh. If you soak it in raw milk for a few hours, it really helps soften the taste a lot. Um, but yeah, definitely. I mean, I would always recommend fresh if you want the most like nutrients out of your food, because any extreme heat or extreme cold is going to change the molecular structure of this natural thing, you know. So if you can get fresh and soak it in raw milk, you can try that.
I love it. Do you have any like YouTube videos or articles on like liver pates or stuff like that?
I have a recipe in my book.
Oh, cool.
Like,
Okay.
yeah, I don't think I ever made a YouTube about it, but I need to eat more liver myself. Like we actually just bought liver again, so we're gonna get back. I go in waves of things.
Mhm. Yeah, same here. I've just been obsessed with liver mainly for the bioavailable copper because I'm finding that's the precursor to so many enzymes in the body, and it actually allows iron to work. It's like
Oh,
uh,
great.
transferase or all these iron enzymes. I think like 20 that require copper to be there, and most people are copper deficient, and liver's like the best source.
Oh,
You know,
great. Okay,
so,
I didn't know that it was so high in copper. That's another reason to eat it.
yeah, yeah, it's amazing. How did you eat? I guess during the pregnancy, birthing method, and diet for breastfeeding. We can kind of break those up.
Okay, well, yeah, the pregnancy was a lot of calories, mostly coming from probably 50% raw fat, and then the rest would be protein and vegetables. It's really important to eat organic. Don't take antibiotics or drugs or, it's really like when you're growing a baby, you get this one shot. You get like this little window and this one chance to really like clean it up. And I mean, it's better to clean it up before. You don't want to be toxic, but yeah, so I ate a lot of raw butter, raw eggs in my milkshakes, raw quart of raw milk a day, steamed veggies with a lot of raw butter on them. If I eat vegetables, they're usually steamed, juiced, or fermented. For me, that's going to digest a lot better because it's breaking down the cellulose wall of the vegetable. Grass-fed meats, slow-cooked meats, organs. And I didn't take a supplement. I don't know if that's going to be, or a prenatal, if that's a question. But, you have to really be like really on the diet and like prudent, or that I'm trying to think of the word for diligent. Like I really thought about every day, am I getting my folate, am I getting my calcium, am I getting my fat soluble vitamins and enough protein, and like really think about it. I food journaled because I think that people that say, oh, I'm not going to take your prenatal, you got to really be up on the foods then. A lot of nutrient dense foods. I know Weston A. Price, they call them the sacred pregnancy foods, and it was a lot of animal fats and animal proteins.
I love it. Yeah, I get a lot of questions about folate, and that's found in high amounts in raw milk, right? There's a lot of
Yeah, and I put a handful of spinach in my smoothie
it.
because I know like people want to go and take folic acid, but that's a synthetic form. It's best you can just even like Google like the foods highest in folate and try to get everything from food over some man-made supplement.
It's usually the way to go. Yeah.
Yeah, and then like I said, Jeremiah is really with it. He's really strong and sturdy and smart and has like nice teeth, and and that comes from eating these nutrient dense diets while nursing. because a lot of kids will get cavities and things, and mom's like, well, I'm breastfeeding, they should be fine, but it's so important to just really keep up on the nutrient dense diet while nursing too.
Well said. Awesome. Yeah, and we covered the birthing method, so that's pretty good. And the diet, I guess the nutrition before and during breastfeeding, is that pretty much the same, or is it?
It is. Yeah, I pretty much ate a lot of animal fat, animal protein, vegetables. I do green juice as well because I don't get too acidic. I haven't studied that in a long time, but that just naturally feels like I need to add in some green juice.
You do a lot of dandelion, right?
Yeah, well, when it's in season. I've
Yeah.
been making a lot of dandelion tea because it's like screaming at me in the backyard, like, I'm here, I'm bright and sunny, pick me.
That
Uh,
stuff's potent for the liver. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's,
really good for the liver.
yeah.
I just made a dandelion body oil. It's really good to detox the lymph. There's a lot of like chemicals and nutrients in the dandelion that's good for lymph. But I wanted to say that preconception, it's really important for the man's diet as well. It's not just all on the woman. Like the male's gonna have healthier sperm, a larger sperm count. Everything is like gonna be better if he's on this nutrient dense diet as well. So
Yeah.
two people contributing to this healthy baby.
So he shouldn't be drinking beers every day, probably.
Right, right. And like eating just carbs and white rice or some whatever. I don't know.
I love it. Yeah, that sounds pretty balanced.
Yeah, it's like they play a part.
Yeah. Um, Pine pollen probably helps, right? And having good testosterone levels.
Oh yeah, totally. It totally helps boost the testosterone. It actually, like, Chris has to go on and off of that because if you take it for too much, you're like just wound with energy, and like he has to chop wood because he has energy anyways. And the pine pollen's like, I mean, it's fun to like see what these things do to your body, and experiment.
Yeah, it is. I found I've done so many experimentation with phytoandrogens just because it's good recovery from just crazy extreme diets to regenerate the nervous system. And I
Mm.
think the aromatase inhibitors are super important. So you can get those in like citrus, like naringenin and apigenin, like the bioflavonoids. Those are really powerful aromatase inhibitors. And then the nettle root, like the nettle root tincture is amazing.
Oh, great.
Just to combine those two is even more powerful. But he might be bouncing off the walls at that point.
Oh, I remember the nettle. Yeah, that is a part of it. Yeah, yeah. Okay.
Sex hormone binding globulin. Yeah, I guess.
Yeah. There's
um,
a lot of medicine right out the door.
right. um, so someone asked, is she a solo parent or partner? It's a partnered.
Yep, yep. We're a partner. Like I just wrote a post about how like it didn't always come natural for us, but we do a lot of work on the partnership. Like we have open sharing time. We really work on communication, having radical honesty. We say like we do check-ins, like happening with you. We'll go on walks and kind of like pass the baton and let the other person speak. Well, not we don't really have a baton, but it's like very like yeah, it takes work to have a success like a healthy relationship. It's just I don't know. Maybe some people it just really organically flows, but for us, we're consciously like we're always working on it.
Yeah, I like that you brought up radical honesty. Brad Blanton wrote that book,
Yeah.
and I read that and it was mind blowing. I think it's super extreme, but it makes sense, and
Yeah, it's really
um,
good, and there's some discernment of with it, but
yeah. Yeah, it's a lot of being uncomfortable and saying what you don't want to say. And I think he had an analogy in there, like the relationship should work like a internal combustion engine with thousands of explosions, instead of just holding things in, and then a dynamite TNT blast, over like who didn't do the dishes, or something like
exactly. Yeah, I think it's also called like the monster hiding under the rug. He'll like explode if you don't talk about these little things. But it is really nice. Like Jeremiah loves having two parents. I feel really blessed that we have a partnership for the baby.
Yeah, I see it as an epidemic right now. I don't really know what the cause is. I think maybe the social engineering,
Mm.
with just everything combining. But single women raising their child is so common right now. Like say 50% of women I talk to are raising them by themselves.
Wow.
And it's kind of scary.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
the masculine feminine that like we were like earlier, it's just it would seem off balance. I know a lot of women in that role become masculine. They have to survive. And I noticed like I can really be in my feminine because I have the masculine in the house. And I like that.
I
Yeah.
think that's super important. Yeah. Um, Maybe that's where community comes in, though. I think just to give someone a practical solution, if there was a single mom, I would say maybe get to know your neighbors in your neighborhood, right, and kind of connect with that community, because then they could have that masculine role, right, in the community.
Totally. An elder or somehow. Yeah. Yeah. I know. I give people a lot of credit on doing it on their own. It's got to be hard.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It's so much work. I mean, I don't wanna say I know, like, some people say, "Well, if you say it's a lot of work, then it's even more work." Like, whatever your reality, but I also wanna validate women too. Like, I get it. It's a lot of work.
Reality exists. Yeah.
Yeah.
um, my son suffers from constipation. The only remedy that has helped has been probiotics. Any other suggestions on how to help?
I would have to know the diet, because raw fats are very lubricating. Like, my son's he eats a lot of butter by the spoonful, and he goes about 7 times a day. His digestion is like he eats, goes, eats, go. It flows so nice. But he does a lot of naked sunning. We're out in nature. He's moving. He does a lot of movement. I would have to know a little more, but movement, sunshine, raw fats are very lubricating and moisturizing for the body. Kids really
Awesome.
like fermented veggies as well.
And do you recommend like making your own like sauerkraut and stuff?
I don't have
Or
time. Like some people are so good at their craft. I just pay them for it. But I always buy raw, unpasteurized, in a glass jar, like really nice fermented veggies, and we always have a little bit with each meal, and that's a great way to get a probiotic in. Like I always think our ancestors didn't have a pill to take. They had food, like a fermented food. So I try to do that.
I love it. Yeah, I just interviewed a microbiologist. I think it was last month, and we are talking about spore-based probiotics, and I think those are like the probiotic to take if you're going to take one. And they're like influencer strains, so they like influence the whole microbiome just for. But he in the interview, he was like, just get your fingernails in the dirt. And I would just recommend high elevation. Probably wouldn't do that in the streets of LA,
Yeah,
right?
right.
But if you're in a forest, I mean, that's a good way to inoculate your child. Just
Totally.
get that dirt under there.
Oh, yeah. I was just reading about ecotherapy and how it, not even like builds the immune system, but it really helps with depression. Like if you go to WebMD, they're actually like telling people now, like go out in nature and put your hands in the dirt and you won't need these ants. There's so much to it.
Yeah, when WebMD is saying it, then
Right. Yeah.
What supplements should our kids be taking? Magnesium and zinc. What form? So your kid isn't on a supplement, right? Any really?
No, I mean he's like us. He gets all his nutrition through food and nature. But what do? We do raw goat milk with him and the fermented veggies. But I mean, he's not on a supplement. I don't know.
Yeah, he doesn't do like 10-day cleanses.
No, he's not on like a kid's vitamin. But like I said, we go out of our way to really get the raw butter and the raw milk and things.
Yeah, I think it's like quality over quantity,
Right.
because you can spend more but then consume less of higher quality stuff, and you'll get a ton of nutrition.
Yeah, it's totally worth spending a little more.
Yeah. Natural solutions for ear infections and strep that work.
He's never had either, but I do know that there's some women that use garlic in the ear and mullein, some kind of garlic mullein drop. I just heard that recently. That really helped with an ear infection. What was the other one?
Strep throat.
Oh, okay. Raw honey. Yeah, I mean, I don't really. So he's never been sick because of it's really about keeping the immune system up. That's what it is. Like, So whatever's vitamin C builds the immune system. Red peppers, yellow peppers, strawberries. He's constantly snacking on high vitamin C foods and probiotics, and eating raw milk. It has a ton of probiotic in it. And so, yeah, I would focus on the immune system.
I love it. Yeah, that's great. Let's see. Oh, and I just want to say the raw honey, we didn't really talk about that too much, but I think that's a big reason why I connected with you is I'm obsessed with raw honey, and just it's kind of like whatever problem you have, take raw honey,
Yeah, it's the
right?
first thing that came to mind.
Yeah, when I talk a lot, and if I ever get a sore throat or feel that coming on, I just keep downing, straight in the mouth, raw honey, and it's a food. I mean, it does so
Oh
much. It's
yeah,
amazing.
totally.
Antifungal.
Yeah, it has a lot of
Um,
enzymes in it.
mhm.
Yeah.
Pregnancy anemia, and is it even real? Um, People have been hearing me talk about iron, and recently I interviewed Morley
Hmm.
Robbins. He's all about iron dysregulation, and how we should donate just to dump, excess iron, which now we're getting from our environment and food in
Okay.
unnaturally high amounts. But have you looked into anemia in
So
pregnancy? And
my midwife always says that so the blood volume expands by 50%, and that's why a lot of pregnant women look anemic, because it's like the blood, there's so much extra more blood now that it looks like there's not as much iron, but usually it's not that much of a problem. It's that, like, I guess people aren't reading the test right. Um, but it is important, and nettle tea is something I drank a lot of because that was high in iron, and ate a lot of grass-fed beef. But there are women that do experience it. But you can just boost it up through foods. I wouldn't take a supplement, you know?
yeah, yeah, the iron supplements seem to be the worst. It's
Yeah.
just like inorganic, non-heme form, and it just causes
Yeah, they
problems.
don't even assimilate.
Yeah, that's kind of scary. That's interesting about the blood volume expanding. I've heard that. So it can vary widely during
Yeah,
the
it
whole
can,
pregnancy
yeah, and
process.
it's supposed to expand. Like that's really
Mhm,
necessary. Like I remember her, she did test the blood volume in the beginning and in the end, and it had really expanded.
mhm.
So it's a good thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. First foods for the baby: when and how to introduce solids, meats, dairies, eggs.
Okay, well, egg yolk is a really good first food. It's really easy to digest, and put a little bit in the bottle, or well, whatever. I don't know what people use, but on a spoon. Um, Avocado was really, really his favorite food for a long time. Um, but some people are really strict on, 6 months or 8 months, but he grabbed a chicken bone at 5 months. And I was like, okay, well, I guess he wants to suck on a chicken bone. I mean, I kind of just flowed with whatever intuitively, like, he naturally went for. And he did. He went for our food. He was ready. He was showing me he was ready. So yeah, we started out with a lot of avocado though. But we tried banana, and he went crazy because of the sugar. Now he's adapted. Like, he can eat half a banana now at 19 months, but I remember about 8 months, we were like, what's wrong with him? So it went back to avocado.
Yeah, I think it's a lot safer. They spray bananas with Smart Fresh, and I think even the organic ones, they just spray them with crazy stuff. And
Mm.
I don't know if you can get ones in Mexico. I think they're better than the ones shipped overseas. But yeah, that unripe starch can really cause
Yeah, I
havoc.
like when the little tag says Mexico on it.
Yeah, you can feel the difference with those for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah. um, let's see. Another supplements question. So none. What books would she recommend for animal-based eating natural medicines? Yours, right?
Yeah, that's if you want to try the raw route. I mean,
Mhm,
I like all of Sally Fallon's books. Gosh, I think, it's called Nourishing Traditions. She's got a baby book. I remember I read through that baby book, and a really good info on what to eat when you're pregnant, what to feed a baby, what to eat when you're nursing. That was a good one.
yeah, I love her. That's one of my top books, Nourishing Tradition. There's so many cool recipes in there too.
Yeah, yeah, it's a good one.
Cool. Let's see. Food frequency or any specific protocol she did before, during, or after pregnancy. So your frequency is probably intuitive, right? How often you were eating.
Yeah, my midwife at the time said every time she looks at a pregnant woman, she's like, she looks starving. She always thinks pregnant women look so hungry because you need to eat a lot. Like, it was so hard to get that many calories in. I was constantly like, "Did I eat enough? Did I eat enough?" Because when you're growing a baby, you need to have a lot of calories. So, yeah, it was intuitive, but it was a lot of eating. It was eating like a job, like it was my job.
Yeah, and I think keeping the metabolic rate up, there's just keeping the thyroid functioning, the liver functioning, which there's a connection there, and just because a lot of people can have a sluggish metabolism from so many reasons.
Right.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's cool. And you didn't do any crazy biohacking? I guess that's maybe what they're doing.
No, no, not during pregnancy. I was just like, it's like your free pass actually to keep eating.
Yeah. Let's see. Did you use red light therapy or anything baby specific? Any devices? I don't know. Someone's asking.
Mm. I did. I lived in the desert, so I actually got to lay out naked in the sun a lot. Yeah, so that
That's
was,
awesome.
like, really healthy, like, a lot of vitamin D, but, I don't know, like, if I lived somewhere north, maybe, yeah.
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 I love it. Um, sample ideas for breakfast or lunch on a budget.
On a budget. Oh, I don't know, that's a tough one 'cause it's a priority. I don't buy other things like clothes or entertainment because a lot of the money goes to really good organic food. But if you could eat nutrient dense foods, you'll it sustains longer. Like a lot of raw cheese, that's very filling. That help with nausea. That helps with calcium. So it can't be soft cheeses. So there is like some warning about listeria. With pregnant women aren't supposed to be eating raw cheese. Or they're actually anything raw, which of course I don't agree with. But as long as it's a nice, hard, solid, raw cheese, it was fine for me. And supposed, they say it's fine, but the soft cheeses, I would stay away from.
And is that basic idea that since your immune system is strong and you're eating raw dairy, then you could any little microscopic pathogen you could obliterate?
Yeah, I mean,
Is that the basic?
yeah, there's usually like built-in enzymes in the raw dairy, anyways, that takes care of anything.
Yeah.
It's when they pasteurize things and kill all the enzymes that there's problems.
For sure. Yeah, and I would just throw out there Costco. I mean, you could find
Okay,
organic stuff. That's like a good budget place, and sometimes they even have decent cheese. I mean, it is pasteurized, but you can find organic,
okay.
cheese, and that's way better than
Yeah,
non-organic,
because
I
you
think.
won't be getting the antibiotics and hormones, like, definitely organic.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe lots of avocados. I remember once I wrote a blog about how to calorie up, and I was like, "You just need toppings." I had put butter, ghee, cheese, avocado, like, every topping I could imagine on the sweet potato to try to get in more calories.
It's like everyone's dream.
I know.
That's the cool thing about this type of nutrition, this way of eating. It's just everything tastes amazing, right? It's
Yeah,
like
how about it?
mm.
Yeah.
How to recover from IUDs and nutritional hormonal imbalance in order to have a healthy baby. Kind of birth control. Do you have experience or knowledge of that? Or
Yeah, I mean, I was never on it, so I was lucky, but it definitely you need to take about 6 months to rebuild the body and really eat a lot of saturated animal fats, raw preferably, in my opinion, a lot of raw milk, raw fat, raw butter, raw cheese, kefir, things that are really gonna repopulate the gut and just bring the nutrients back in.
I love it. Yeah, because those birth control things, copper IUDs especially,
Mhm,
it lowers the fat soluble vitamins. I would imagine,
mhm.
right, when it hammers the immune system.
Right, and
So
stress, there's so many things that immediately zap the vitamins. So, yeah, I would take 6 months and really eat a nutrient-dense diet.
awesome. I love it. Do you think it's okay to give raw goat's milk to a 5-year-old baby? I really don't like the baby formula.
5-year-old or 5-month-old?
5
Oh,
months.
okay. Well, I started goat milk about he was 8 months. Um, yeah, I think 5 months would be okay, actually. I mean, the raw goat milk is the closest to human milk, and it really digests easily. Um, I would make sure the source is good and it's a good clean source. Maybe go and meet the farmer, look at the goats.
Yeah. Yeah, I think with animal husbandry, it's I'm so passionate about feeding them the right things, and I make my own colloidal silver so I could put that in the water. And it's funny that wipes out any stupid virus that the chickens can get. And just a little bit of oregano, if goat farmers would use that wipes out any possibility of crazy pathogens. So it really comes down to just the farmers doing it right and just using these very affordable, super cheap additives to the food and
Natural
water.
choices.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great that you do that. But yeah,
Yeah.
there is, if you Google, there's a Weston A. Price formula. There are about 14 things in it, so I never made it because I was breastfeeding and had raw goat milk. But a lot of people do like the Weston A. Price baby formula.
Awesome. Okay, cool. Um, 9-month-old girl, best ways to get the magnesium, best probiotics. Is honey okay?
Oh, 9 months? I wonder if she's breastfeeding because that's still like you get a lot through the mother's milk and whatever the mother's eating. I don't know. Do you know about magnesium? That's a tough one. It's not in a lot of foods.
My thing is bicarbonate. I've been telling people like carbonate reverse osmosis water, and then you make it's the only liquid form. But also just if you're by the ocean, just soaking in the ocean because that's
Oh,
magnesium chloride. That's really
the
good.
foot
But
baths.
yeah, just avoid the Epsom salts because the magnesium sulfate, that's just mostly sulfur. So
Okay.
that's a tricky one. I mean, when you get in the mineral world, it's just the soil is so shot,
Yeah.
and like the vitamins are easier to get
Yeah,
than minerals.
totally.
Yeah, but I know there's some magnesium in orange juice, so finding a good
Okay.
orange,
And what
orange
about
growth.
green leafy vegetables? Do they have
There is some, yeah. I think ideally, I think like I might be a perfectionist, but your own greenhouse or
Mm,
covered with, and you have some type of filtration, so it's not just chloramine going into the
okay.
soil.
Maybe a farmer's market too. Hopefully,
Hmm.
they would be doing some things right. It'd be probably better nutrients than the grocery store because it's sitting on the shelf for so long.
Yeah, for sure. I always tell people do their best, and the enzyme thing is fascinating. Like I think it's 30 minutes after you pick like an orange, it loses like 50% of its
Mm,
enzymes. It's pretty crazy. Like you almost have to be out there in the field or the garden to get if you want enzymes,
wow. Well, maybe,
unless you're doing the raw dairy.
yeah, or maybe wild food.
That's the way to do it. Yeah. um, do you think honey's okay for a nine
I
month?
mean, there's so much controversy that technically they say 1 year. We gave him honey a little bit early because I had talked to this one farmer that said it's totally fine, and, you're always gonna find different opinions, but if you really wanna play it on the safe side, it's 1 year.
Yeah, I think honey is so important because it's an awesome source of vitamin C and
Mm,
potassium, like the best sources of those in my opinion. So
yeah, and as long as it's raw and unheated and, it's otherwise, it's just like high fructose corn syrup if it's heated at, I think, above 96 or something. I mean, I really go to the market and talk to them and it says raw, unheated, never filtered, like on the label. But if it doesn't say unheated, maybe it's not really raw.
yeah, there's a way to check. I always mix this up, but I think if it crystallizes, then it's truly
Yeah.
raw. That's my understanding.
Yeah. So the farmer says, like, well, see, this is what it's gonna happen. It's gonna crystallize. I'm like, great. Yeah.
That's awesome. Um, what does she suggest women to do to prepare their body for pregnancy? So, would you say like prepare how far ahead and like six
Yeah,
months, a
that would help.
year?
I mean, detox is always good, like form of a sauna, sweating. I mean, you could add cilantro and parsley to smoothies and things, just like just lightly daily detoxing. I wouldn't go crazy lemons and limes and, because it is important to have a clean body before pregnancy. And it's really important to even manufacture hormones with fats and cholesterol. That's so important. Like it's just at the root of everything. I know a lot of vegans have trouble getting pregnant, and like I have this raw butter pie recipe, and this one lady started eating all my butter pie and she got pregnant. She's like, your pie got me pregnant, because she was so fat deficient. So that's just really important, is just cleaning up the diet, taking out processed foods and alcohol and even caffeine and sugar, and you just have to, like, Yeah, you prepare, but it should be a lifestyle anyways.
Yeah, I like that you said gentle because I think people go on, this crazy gallbladder flush, drinking Epsom salts and just coffee enemas, and people just. But it's just from my research, it's like get the liver functioning, and the enemy of the liver is really the unsaturated fats,
Mm,
from nuts, heavy nut seeds, grains, legumes, soy. That will
yeah.
really burn the liver.
Rancid oils. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of nuts, and there's not a lot of
Yeah.
room for nuts when I eat a lot of dairy. I know it's called like the poor man's meat. They eat a lot of nuts. This is for some people, but I'd rather just eat a big piece of grass-fed steak and some raw cheese and avocado.
I love it. Yeah, I think we're on a similar deal. Like I used to go on hikes with my friend and I would have, trail mix, is the big thing for hiking. But, there's peanuts with mold in there. There's all these hard nuts and seeds with protease inhibitors. And so you can't even digest the protein in them.
Mm,
And so now I just do, fruit jerky is really good, like dried mangoes or
mm,
pineapple or and I really like venison jerky or beef jerky, and
yeah,
just those are like awesome snacks.
totally. We always bring
So
raw cheese too.
nice, that's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah.
um, yeah, it's like a cool cooling effect too with raw cheese that I like.
Mm.
Um, natural birth with midwife at home. What are the pros and cons to that?
Well, you won't be in the system of the medicalized mindset of wanting to. I mean, so in the hospital, they usually take the baby away and wipe the. Oh, there's something on the baby, the frosting, the white frosting. I can't think of what it's called. Oh, it was called birthday frosting. But they'll wipe it off really hard, and it's under bright lights, and it's just known like how you come into the world is how you view the world and what you think the world's about. So there's a lot of healing that needs to take place with hospital births because you come in and it's chaos. It's like loud and lights and fear, and you can have this home birth where it's very a gentle, quiet way to enter the world, and you don't have to be susceptible to vitamin K shots or vaccines, or um, they put ointment in the eyes, or they just do all these really unnatural things that I think babies are born healthy and that's their birthright, and then they go in and they think they're like unhealthy or something, in the hospital, and they have to fix them. They like want to keep giving Jeremiah antibiotics just in case. I'm like, well, we don't do anything just in case, like we said no to everything. They wanted us out of there because we were so annoying. We're like, nope, nope, nothing, nothing, nothing. I didn't take any painkillers. Like, just get me out of here. It was such an emergency situation, but yeah, it's just so much more like your own choice at home.
It's so funny. You kind of that's a perfect segue to the next question because they said, "What are my rights to refuse the majority of the system's treatments, vaccines, procedures?" And I think I've heard from other women, like, expect a call from us. Like they kind of like it's like bullying, right? If you refuse a lot of these
Yeah, we had to
things.
sign a lot of paperwork, and we were like really adamant about refusal, but they let us. Yeah, I don't know like laws in other states, but like we were really adamant about saying no to everything and signing off on that we said no, and yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Umbilical cord attachment after birth benefits.
A lot of people leave it on for a while. Some people carry it around in a bucket for days. There's different. Some people say yes, it's very beneficial, and some people say a couple minutes is okay. I think if the baby does need the extra blood, it's okay to leave it on longer. There's certain cases.
Okay. Cool. Awesome. Let's see. What foods are recommended for the first 2 years? So, from what I understand, it's like after the first year. I mean, it's pretty safe. I mean, even 9 months
Yeah.
to introduce raw honey and the eggs and all that. I mean, but you say eggs right from the get go. So,
Oh, well, he
uh,
wasn't eating eggs. So, it was for him, it was 5 months. That was probably on the early side, but yeah, it's
okay.
usually 5, 6 months when they start eating some solids. Avocado, that was like a really good one. Sweet potatoes, really soft. They don't have any teeth, you know? No grains. They're not equipped to digest any grains for I thought it was 2 years. I recently read 3 years. They're missing an enzyme to digest any grains.
Okay, awesome. After breastfeeding for a year, what milk do you suggest switching to?
Um, well, raw goat milk, but I'm thinking do both. Maybe not, maybe keep breastfeeding for a little bit longer because we do both. He's 19 months and he breastfeeds and he gets a lot of solids. But raw goat
Okay,
milk, yeah.
I'm I down that stuff at least a quart a day. It's so
Yeah,
good.
great.
um, Supplements to boost immune system. So do you ever take colostrum, or because I'm a huge fan of like mixing that with raw milk?
I used to. Yeah, I remember it was like totally illegal and underground, and I remember buying a pound of it for $300 or something. It was like this met in the alley, and but then I mean, I just still get everything from raw sources because it's a powdered form. I'm sure it's fine. But you said for immune system,
Yeah, they're just asking for supplements,
yeah,
but mainly the raw dairy.
yeah, and probiotics. And
Mhm,
like the vitamin C foods,
mhm.
lots of red and yellow peppers and avocado.
I love it. Yeah, peppers are so easy to grow. My dad grows some in my parents' house, and you just throw them in the ground.
Oh,
They go
nice.
up.
I didn't try that. Um, I just thought of another thing. When I was pregnant, I got a lot of vitamin C from rosehip tea. Yeah, and rosebud tea. I think I drink a lot of nettle tea. So like a lot of times, instead of just drinking water, you can drink nutrients. And so like rosehip tea with a lot of lemon in it would be a lot of vitamin C.
I love it. Okay, cool. Um, how how do you parent so that you don't mess your kid up psychologically?
Well, it's really parenting yourself. So mothering starts with the mother and really looking at yourself and being aware of triggers and like your own emotional it's really like it's we're gonna just trickle down whatever we're doing. So it's not really like I'm above him and I'm this hierarchy. It's like he's born a whole person and he'll model from me. So a lot of it really has come down to like looking at myself.
I love that. That sounds super balanced.
Yeah.
And a lot of outdoor time, right? As we touched on before, just letting them play outside
Yeah,
freely.
independent free play. That's super important for them to build their personality. Like I'm not always, they call it like hovering mothering or parenting, where you're like a helicopter, like but just kind of letting him do his thing and trusting him.
Yeah, I was listening to Stefan Molyneux has a lot of really great information on parenting, and an interview the other day I was listening to. He was talking about the monkey bars, and at the playground how we used to have, if you fall from that thing, you're going to hit your head multiple times before you hit the ground, but that never happened or rarely happened. But now, I mean, I've seen it. It's like fully padded foam ground. It's like everything's super cushy, and it reflects in the men. I mean, it
Mm,
makes soft people.
we are definitely softer humans. I like a bed. you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
It's
interesting.
interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why nature's so much better than the plastic playgrounds, so he can really climb on the rocks.
Less BPA going into the skin.
Yeah, yeah, and the bright colors are, like, really overstimulating sometimes, so I notice his nervous system is so much more relaxed after a day in nature than a day at the park.
I love it. Yeah, probably all just the browns and the greens that
Yeah,
God or whatever designed it that way, right? So
right.
that's cool. So let's see. Hormonal imbalance while pregnant. Kind of touched on that. Is encapsulating placenta really worth it? We kind of touched on that. I mean, would you recommend it?
You know what I do? I wasn't even planning on doing it the last time. I didn't even have my placenta because of my situation, but
Yeah,
is it that worth it? I don't know because I personally haven't done it. You know, I'd
yeah.
have
Just do lip
I'd have
liver.
to tell you if I was taking it and felt a difference.
Yeah, yeah. Um, so ending on vaccines.
Sure.
so, so Jeremiah was not vaccinated, you said,
No,
right?
he actually never has been to the pediatrician yet in 19 months. Yeah, we had to like at the hospital because I had an emergency C-section, but it wasn't our style. and they did not want us to leave unless we had all these scheduled appointments, and we like snuck out and never brought them back. I never went back, nothing.
Wow, that's awesome. Let's
Yeah,
see.
so yeah, definitely, you know, like I know that they have mercury and formaldehyde and aluminum and lots of toxins that I would not want in my body or this pure little baby's body.
Yeah, the adjuvants seem, and I think they increased the amount that babies get now, right? Newborns versus how it used to be,
Yeah,
from what I've
oh
heard.
gosh, was it like 60 shots or something? I just heard the other day. It's a lot. I don't know how their little immune systems handle that. And I do see a difference. I can tell when the, you know, the vaccinated kids and the unvaccinated, they're always sick. You know, they
Mhm.
have like ear infections and noses are always running, and you know, there just seems like there's you know, you can just look at the playground.
Yeah, I can really relate. I mean, I think that was a big part of my health growing up because I was often sick. Like I remember at least 2 or 3 times a
Mhm.
year, I would stay home from school with like a really intense flu or cold, one a fever of 103, really harsh sore throat, the whole deal. And bless my parents. I mean, they were doing the best they could, but I wasn't eating raw dairy at all.
Yeah,
Not once.
me neither.
It was like grains and just the standard American thing
Mhm.
that relatively healthy, but it's like not a lot of high quality grass fed animal foods, not pastured eggs, and I think that's really what's missing, right? Is the
Oh
animal
yeah,
foods
definitely.
to build the
I mean,
system.
most people that come to raw milk, it's the first time they ever tried a sip in their life, and they're adults. Yeah, so it's definitely like, my body took a while to require all those new to like build back up the nutrients that were missing. So it was like chugging it in the beginning, and then I balanced out a little. But yeah, most people haven't had it.
Yeah, and I like that you said chugging because that my experience is like I was doing a half gallon to a gallon a day. And I think in context, like you brought up context earlier, that's really important. And our B requirements could go through the roof if we've been deficient, in B complex. And
Right,
same with protein, right? So sometimes there's that building phase of like more than
right,
normal, right?
exactly. Yeah, and then I think we balance out.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, this is super informative. So your website is rawpaleo.com,
Uh-huh.
right?
Yep. Rawpaleo.com, and my Instagram is my name, Melissa Henig. And you know, I talk a lot about motherhood now, and it's changed. It used to be a lot about food, and now it's a lot about motherhood, but there's still some food and herbs and nature sprinkled in there.
I love it. Yeah, you're my go-to for parenting and childbirth and pregnancy and all of that. I just keep pointing people to you because I think you did it right. And I mean, Jeremiah is a testimony to that, right? Never been sick
Right.
once.
Yes.
That's pretty
Thank
amazing.
you. Thanks for doing that.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for your time. And yeah, and just want to also say you sell some products that people should definitely check out, like your tallow soaps are just blowing my mind. And you have the
Yeah,
skincare
I have the tallow
cream.
skincare and some new dandelion body oil. Really, whatever our skin is eating, whatever we put on it. Like if you wouldn't eat it, you probably don't want to put it on your skin. It's known that women put on 80 chemicals before breakfast, between like soap and makeup and hair shampoo, and that's a lot. So it's really good to like these are all you can eat my products.
And they're high in saturated fat,
Right.
right? So that's a good
Yeah,
thing.
exactly. Vitamin A is soaking right in.
I love it. Yeah, we didn't even touch on like cholesterol and saturated fat, but those are so key for human health, and they've been
I know,
demonized.
and for the
So
brain, yeah, the development of the brain and the child, that's why they're drawn to those foods.
yeah. Well, for anyone wondering about recipes, I would definitely recommend checking out Melissa's recipe book because it's full of a lot of good ones. So
Thank you.
yeah, yeah. Thanks for coming on. Hang on here. We're going to close out the show.
Okay.